Okay, I need to keep my voice down because I am speaking ill of this neighborhood right here. I'm not actually, I like this neighborhood. I like actually all of the neighborhoods in this video. This video, we're talking most overrated neighborhoods in Denver. And if they're overrated, well, that leads us to believe that they've been rated somewhat highly. So one would assume, and I believe, they all have positive factors. And I generally like talking about the positive parts of Denver, right? I generally like talking about the things I like the most. So I did a video on the most underrated neighborhoods in Denver, and you can check that out on the channel, but I thought it was only fair to do the other side of it too, the most overrated neighborhoods. Balance, as it were. Balance is important. So I'm going to go through the list. There are 4 on the list, 4 that I just think are rated a little too highly for one reason or another. A lot of it has to do with the cost of living in the neighborhood and or what you get versus what you get in some adjacent neighborhoods that may be less expensive. You guys know I'm a real estate agent, so a lot of the times I look at things in terms of median home price, and that's what I'm doing here too. And interestingly enough, I did not plan this, but the first 3 neighborhoods on this list have a median home price that's almost identical to one another. And then the 4th one has one that's astronomically higher. Maybe you can guess what that one is. So the first one on the list in the neighborhood I'm in right now is Lowry. And if you look around, you're saying, okay, that looks nice. And like I said off the top, it is nice. Loud truck over there. It's got some great parks, as you can see, trees, shady. Yes, very, very idyllic in the way that this neighborhood presents itself. Median home price, $770,000. So that's about $125,000 more than the median price in Denver, Colorado at large. It's funny, people keep changing their walking routes to come by and see what I'm doing. It feels like they're breaking off the routes just to see if they can overhear. It is a weird thing just to be sitting here on a bench alone.
They ask you how you are.
In a park with a microphone and a selfie stick. Anyway, more expensive than the average Denver neighborhood. It is very nice. It is just a little boring for my taste. It's a newer neighborhood. It's fine. Relatively central, kind of east central Denver neighborhood. Very nice, but that does account for lots of smaller homes, 3 bedrooms, and there's also plenty of condos and attached properties in Lowry too. So you are paying, I don't want to call it a premium, but if you're getting a 3 or 4 bed single family home, you're in the 8s or 9s most likely. Newer neighborhood, it actually used to be an old Air Force base, and then in the 90s, the Air Force base closed, so it was converted to what this is now. So it has a lot of those new neighborhood things. Newer homes, newer trees, newer businesses. New's not bad, but compared to some other Denver neighborhoods that have a lot more history and a lot more charm, Lowry's lacking there. Certainly not a bad place to be, very safe, very quiet, but I hear people talk about it a lot and how much they just love and adore Lowry. I get it in a way, but I don't get it as much as some other places. And side note, Lowry, as with a number of Denver neighborhoods, has a few sub-neighborhoods in it. Lowry Field, there's Boulevard 1, which is even newer, and I actually like quite a bit more, but it is more expensive. Won't go too far in the weeds on that one, but moral of the story, Lowry is the first one on the list of most overrated neighborhoods, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to get back in the office and talk about the other 3, so people stop looking at me weird. Back to the friendly confines. All right, so number 2 on the list of overrated neighborhoods is the University neighborhood. Median home price here is $775, curiously close to the $770 of Lowry, as I mentioned. And we got to be careful here because there's a few neighborhoods with the University name in them. There's the University neighborhood, there's University Park, which is also called Observatory Park. Gets confusing. There's University Hills, but I'm talking about good old-fashioned University. The neighborhood that you may know or have guessed is centered on the University of Denver, which is often referred to as DU, and so is the neighborhood. The DU neighborhood, after the University of Denver, which should be UD, but the University of Colorado we call CU. University of Kansas, KU. That place sucks regardless. This is something that's always bothered me. I digress. So, University, South Central, Denver neighborhood, sought after neighborhood. I personally just don't get it. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, but I mentioned the median home price. That's dragged down by a lot of condos and the like. Anytime you try to look for a single family home in the University neighborhood seems to be astronomical. And I just don't know that the juice of the neighborhood is worth that squeeze. Now, yes, you may be saying, Sam, you're just old. This is a college neighborhood. You're out of touch. You're disconnected with the youth. That's why you don't get it. Probably true. And to be honest, DU's campus, very nice. Every time I drive through or by it, it feels good, right? There's something about a college campus that's just nice. There's energy. But to me, the neighborhood, there's not really much else going on other than that. Yes, you have access to South Downing Street, which it shares with Rosedale. That's the newer Denver Beer Co. Right Cream, best ice cream spot in town. I've said this many times. I'll continue to say it. And there's a decent amount of stuff going on Evans, which runs east to west, including the original Chipotle, which, considering how Chipotle has nourished me over the years, I should be far from disparaging. But anyway, in comparison to some similar classed neighborhoods, let's say as far as home prices and things to do in Denver, Platt Park, get it. Wash Park, get it. Highlands, get it. University, I've just never really got it. I believe your money can be better spent elsewhere. Unless you're going to college there, and then definitely live there. Should go without saying. I don't want you driving across town. That's no fun. That's not the college experience. But you're probably not buying a home in college anyway. And if you are, good on you and call me. Number 3 on the list, and I cringe saying this. I almost cringe saying all of these because, like I said, I don't like to disparage. But Central Park, the artist formerly known as Stapleton. If you know Denver at all, you're familiar with this area. Median home price, $780,000. See? Still right in that pocket. So Central Park is actually huge. So there's a number of different little pockets of it, and it spans quite a bit of land. From a good deal south of I-70 to well north of I-70, all the way up there by the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. You got sort of old Central Park, if you can call it that, around 29th Avenue. It goes up to Northfield, north of I-70, and then all the way up to Beeler Park, way the heck up there. And then you can kind of loop back down on the east side over to the East Bridge neighborhood. There's probably a few other ones too, small subdivisions that I'm missing. Anyway, big neighborhood is my point. Used to be the site of the old Denver Airport. So you're seeing a lot of Lowry parallels here, and you're going to keep seeing them. Denver Airport moved way out east in the 90s, thus became the neighborhood Stapleton, which then became the neighborhood Central Park. Walker Stapleton, old governor, checkered past, 2020. Had to change the name. All right, so what's the deal? Why don't I like Central Park? It's not that I don't like it. I will stop using that qualifier, I promise. A lot of Lowry parallels, like I said. It's just kind of boring. It's fine. It's newer. It's nice. It's expensive. There are some things going on, honestly. And like I said, there's a bunch of different pockets, so you can get a lot of different flavors of Central Park depending on where you are, and they all have something to offer. The best part, in my opinion, is the pool system. There's like 7 different pools that if you're in the area, you have easy access to. But to me, it feels less like Denver and more like a suburb of Denver. And I'm not trying to hate on suburbs, but I want you to know what you're getting into if you're considering Central Park. And maybe that is what you're looking for, but here's really the big sticking point about this neighborhood to me is that a suburb, I believe, should come with an ample yard or a yard at all. And many places in Central Park do not. Seriously, yards are at a premium. Some places have them, but a large number of homes in Central Park have little to no private yard. Maybe that's for you, maybe it's not. For me, don't love it. But a real quick tip here, the East Bridge part of Central Park, all the way over east, almost to Aurora, that has a little collection of restaurants that are actually some of my favorites in Denver. Cholan's second location is there. You've heard me talk about that before. I don't know why I'm whispering again, but it feels like it's a secret. Los Chingones for tacos. Yes. Hashtag next door for breakfast. It's even got a little ice cream shop. It's great. It's like almost nothing. It's like across from a King's Supers, but worth checking out if you're on this side of town. See, it's not just bashing. Okay, and number 4, and the final overrated neighborhood on my list. If you've watched this channel before, you were probably expecting it. Wash Park. I know. I've talked about this before, and oftentimes it may seem like I'm dragging Wash Park through the mud. I'm not. Yes, it is great. And if you have a few $1,000,000 sitting in the bank and want to be in the center of the action in one of Denver's best neighborhoods, Wash Park may be for you. But if you do not, I may recommend looking elsewhere. Okay, so neighborhood pocket caveat again about Wash Park. There are mainly 2 parts to it, and they differ dramatically. Wash Park West and Washington Park, the true Wash Park. Some people call it East Wash Park just to delineate between the two, delineate Not sure if that's the right use of the word. I don't lump them together because there's a big difference between the two. And Wash Park West is still good. It's different from Wash Park East, but I don't lump them together because there's a really big difference between the two. And Wash Park West is something I would not call overrated. It's a good neighborhood, but it's much more affordable than the true Wash Park neighborhood over on the east side there. So we're not talking about that here. I'm just talking about that prime strip of land between Downing and University. Great place to be. Walkable, enough to do, beautiful homes. What's my big problem with it? Home prices. Okay, so we're up around $770, $780 for median home prices for these other three neighborhoods. Wash Park, median home price, $1.425 million. Yeah, and that's the middle. That's just to get you the average home in Wash Park. And yes, you are right next to that park, which has a few lakes. It's a very big park. There's plenty to do. Is it the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life? No. Is it any better than City Park? For my money, no. And then my other gripe, how about things to do within the neighborhood itself? This is where my mind always goes to shopping and dining, and really dining. I don't care about shopping. I order things off Amazon. J. Crew Factory. And Wash Park has some of that. It's got that little strip right on University there, just adjacent to Bonnie Bray, which is the neighborhood to the east. And then it's got South Gaylord Street, which is a nice little strip of restaurants and things to do. But it's little. There's not a whole lot going on. And compared to Old South Pearl to the west, over there in Platt Park, no comparison. No sirree, Bob. So sometimes I compare Wash Park to like a South Park Hill or something like that. But let's just stay right in this pocket here and look at Wash Park's neighbor to the southwest, Platt Park, the home of the aforementioned Old South Pearl district that I love and think is one of the best places to go out in Denver. Well, Platt Park has a lot of the same things as Wash Park. Doesn't have Wash Park, has Platt Park, which is like a little postage stamp. But like I said, for my money, I'll take Old South Pearl any day of the week. And check out the difference in median home price. Wash Park, $1.425 million. Platt Park, $950,000. Just saved you almost $500,000. Now, there are many reasons for this difference in home price, right? It's not just Wash Park being more desirable. It's the type of homes that occupy a lot of these lots in these neighborhoods. Wash Park, because it is so desirable, is home to lots of large, sprawling, renovated, or brand new build mansions. $3, $4, $5 million. Platt Park, not so much. It's charming, some big and also renovated bungalow. More modern builds that aren't 6,000 square feet. So it's not apples to apples. Nothing is. But I don't know. What do you think? You agree? Disagree? Honestly, let me know. And on a more positive note, in case you missed the last video on the most underrated neighborhoods in Denver, I will link to that right here. You are the best. Call me when I can help, and otherwise I will see you soon.